Hello guys and welcome to my Extreme 1 Chunk Ironman. If you're not familiar with Chunkman, it is a series that started on OSRS made by Puka Guy, now known as Alex, where we need to unlock RuneScape 1 chunk at a time. So, what is a chunk? RuneScape is made up by a bunch of squares known as chunks, and each one of those are 64 by 64 tiles. And we cannot leave the chunk until we complete every possible task in the chunk. So the rules include getting any and all best in slots, completing any quests that are available, all possible diary tasks, all skill tasks. So there's a yew tree in the chunk, I need to get the wood going to chop it, I need the fire making to make incense sticks, and I need the fletching to make a shield bow. There must be a viable way to train this skill for any of the goals in the chunk. So if I get a dungeoneering resource dungeon, for example, I need to get like Demonheim or some other means to train it before I can call it as a task, as there's no actual reliable way to train the skill. I need to kill each monster at least once. I need to get any and all collection logs / unique drops from mini games and monsters. The only exceptions are like clues and the rare drop table for like the ring and the skull. Chests are also included, as the Dragonstone armor in Taberley is a 1 in 34,000 for a piece, and there's not really any viable way to farm keys to my knowledge anyway. So I'm adding that to the exceptions. The other one would be the effigy for this chunk, as the only way to get it is from cows and spiders, which are 1 in 3,125,000. And that is just too extreme. If it was like in the tens of thousands, that would be fine, but millions? That's a bit excessive. If there's a skill cape seller, I need to get the level for the skill cape. If the skill only goes up to 99, I will only have to get the skill cape and not the mastery. But if it goes to 120, then I'll have to get the mastery for it. Next up, I'll need to collect any kind of golden fish eggs available. And then, as well as when I get player-owned farms unlocked, I'll have to collect any eggs or baby animals from any of the monsters chunks I have unlocked. So, there are a few exceptions, as this is RuneScape 3. There's just some stuff that I need to bring up. So we talked about the effigy. The other one would be the curved bone. You might be wondering what drops a curved bone in this chunk. There's nothing that drops big bones, is there? There is one. The elite version of the cow called the super cow has a 1 in 1,000 chance to spawn. And as you know, the curve bone is 1 in 5,000. So, a 1 in 5 million per cow. That's worse than the effigy, so that's also getting labelled meme. Until I can find an actual monster that drops big bones. I think the closest one are the big frogs in the swamp. So, that'll get shoved to the backlog for now. Next one. RuneScape has a lot of distractions and diversions, where some have skilling requirements and some have best in slots. The skilling requirements, quite like what Limpwork did, getting 90 mining for like a tier 9 star, I will have to get any levels required for like the best skilling requirement. Off the top of my head would be like Gophixian Cache, where you need 85 for the big memories. You could say 92, but that is behind a quest, so I don't think I'll be doing that quest anytime soon. For best in slots, there are Wilderness Flash events and Goblin raids off the top of my head. They're probably the closest. And if I only have access to one of them, it's gonna be a bit of a ridiculous grind. So I'm also putting that on. So I'm putting an exception for that, and the exception is if there's nothing else for me to do in the chunk, I'm allowed to re-roll. I'm allowed to roll for another chunk. And I I would say put it in the backlog, but I'll still be actively doing it if I see them starting in the chunk. This is just so I don't log in, wait, do the thing, log out for the day, as I don't want to be doing that with my account. It's no fun, and it's just going to sap all kind of motivation out of me, so I'm not doing... So I'm just going to put it on the back burner if I come to that bridge, but I'll still be doing it if I see it available in the chunks, though. So it won't be forgotten, that's for sure. The last exception will be about bosses, a lot of endgame bosses. I'm not too far away from a lot of spooky things. There's Elite Dungeons 3 in Demonheim, there's Elder God Wars at the dig site, and there's Vrago in Valador. There's also Elite Dungeons 1 in Port Sarim as well. So this is up for a debate. I might change my mind later down the line. So the current rule I have that I thought of is I have to get an armor and weapons a tier or 2 below their best in slot before facing the boss, as I feel like this will give me a good chance at the content, as a lot of it I've never done before. So I'm hoping that if I have stuff like that, I'll have a good chance at defeating the boss and being able to grind it. Because I don't feel like I can beat Elite Dungeons 3 in Adamant and Spider Silk. So I'm just throwing this rule out there. If anyone can think of another rule, I know some people have suggested like carries and that, but to be frank, I don't know anybody in RuneScape 3. I've only joined a chunk clan and that's really it. So if there are people willing to boost me, that's sure, but I highly doubt it, as I don't really know anyone. So that's pretty much everything. I hope. Feel free to leave any suggestions for the last exception. I'm all open for ears, that's for sure. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Peace.